Here to go in depth, we're very pleased to be joined by Dr. Ben Carson, co-founder and president of the Carson Scholars Fund and the chairman of the Save Our Healthcare Project. Dr. Carson, also the author of the new ebook, One Vote, Make Your Voice Heard. Dr. Carson, thanks for joining us on America's Forum.
My pleasure.
Dr. Carson, as we take a look at the polling, and certainly key states like Iowa, why do you think the conservative message seems to be resonating around the country with voters?
Well, because people are not, I think, quite as easily manipulated right now as they have been in the past. You know, they're feeling things in their wallets. They're concerned about the future of their children and their grandchildren. And they realize that, if we continue down the same road that we're going, those things are not going to work out for them. So, it's actually kind of refreshing to realize that the American people cannot be manipulated as easily as some people think they can.
Dr. Carson, do you believe this midterm election has essentially become a referendum on the policies of President Obama?
Certainly there is a significant component of that. People realize, or at least they should realize, that America was designed in such a way that the government will conform to the will of the people, not the other way around. We have exactly the opposite now. The government says, this is what you should do. This is what you must eat. This is the health care plan that we designed for you. And, forget about what the people think. And I think, some of the people are just starting to say, we're not buying it.
About 2 minutes and 30 seconds remain in this particular portion of our program, but we would be remiss if we did not note that Senator Rand Paul, the junior Republican senator from Kentucky and a possible 2016 presidential candidate, was on the Sunday shows yesterday, and he stressed concern of the perceived wall between African American voters and the Republican Party. Let's take a listen and get your reaction.
I don't think what we stand for is bad. I believe in what the Republican Party values. But we have a wall or a barrier between us and African American voters. So I spent the last year trying to break down some of that wall.
Do you agree with Senator Paul's statements, Dr. Carson?
There's no question that the Republicans are going to have to reach out to the African American community because there's been so much negative press, and they really haven't done a lot to refute it. Even though I don't believe it's true, you still have to come out with an aggressive game to refute all of the allegations. And we have to start talking about ways to get people out of dependency. What the progressives have done over the last 50 years is create a huge dependent class and made people believe that, they need the government. They need other people to assist them. In the African American community, that's definitely not true. The African American community controls over $1 trillion. If they just know how to turn that money over in their own community 2 or 3 times before they send it out, they'll create enormous wealth. And then you have to reach down and pull up the next person. You can't just walk away with it. And, that's how many other communities have managed to survive over the decades. And we have to do that too. And we can not only survive but thrive. And we need to, emphasize those things that are destroying the Black community. Out of wedlock births and high incarceration rates. We need to address those things primarily. What is causing that? And you'll never get rid of it without talking about it. So somebody has to be brave enough to actually talk about these things because the progressives have made them into politically correct issues that you're not supposed to address.
And that is something we will continue to address because there is so much to talk about on the eve of this important midterm election that, Dr. Carson, we're going to ask you to stay with us through the break, and we will continue this conversation with Dr. Ben Carson coming up on America's Forum.